Hello everyone, welcome to game number 2 in the 1v1 Casuals tournament. This time we are featuring Gameslayer and Fredward. I'm Philothanic. Joining me today is Terror. Terror, what do you think about this map?
Yeah, this is a bit more interesting, isn't it? Again, we've got the elite, so really only 3 HQs to play with. There is a scavenger in play, but A, there are nukes, and B, there isn't terribly good carbon on this map. And yeah, a map seed that gives us resources is right. There's lots of resources here. It is a basin. We have a glass colony, so silicon might be quite valuable in the longer term. We have a robot.
Iron tiles.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some robots here because electronics is 50. The scavenger spots are a little bit awkward, so I would imagine that we're going to see some people found in those iron fields and go immediately for iron and steel.
And the founds are going to be as late as possible because players want as much starting money as possible, so it's going to see who is going to value that claim more and who's going to value the starting bonus more. On Gameslayer's side, he wants the starting bonus as an expansive, immediately going to HQ2.
So he crushes a bunch of the iron, and Fredward does the same thing and founds robot in the northwest. I'm not sure about this. I mean, maybe the expansive is good enough. I mean, it's a little bit awkward, but you know, it's pretty good.
If you can get to HQ2 that fast as an expansive, why not?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Fredward's still on HQ1 right now. It's going to take a little bit, just needs 2k for the upgrade, has 1k, so should have the has 7k, 8k total, so yeah, just one more k of cash to get the upgrade, so that'll come shortly.
Yeah, pretty much all of the steel that he needs. He has a little bit of carbon in reserve as well, so he does have it whenever he wants it now, just waiting by hanging on to that carbon bow. There he goes for the HQ2 upgrade. And yeah, it is a fast start for an expansive player. Gameslayer looking quite strong in this one, getting all of that iron in, going to be able to make steel for the foreseeable future. Does have a geo there as well, so potentially easy access to power for an expansive player with that geotherm. He's in a field of aluminum, although he has taken a high tile as well that's quite far away, and he's got easy access to water too, so basically everything he needs for later on in the game. And
Gameslayer, unlike Zorbaz in the last game, is going to punish Fredward with the black market, shutting down all the steel production of Fredward, so that's going to hurt HQ2. Surge, that's why you kind of want to split your iron and steel up if possible in a 1v1.
Yep, that's absolutely right. Fredward with the single black magic chem refinery as well, and I'm afraid chems are not really good enough to do that, in my opinion at least.
Single steel mill.
Yeah, single steel mill would have been not great, but still fine.
At least you have one steel mill running with your other two offline, and the iron price is so low that you won't care.
Yeah, I mean, the iron
could buy into iron, but he already has 200 and have to spend a good amount of cash just to raise that iron price up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really awkward tile, and chems honestly aren't that good either. There's no real demand on chems. The colony isn't demanding it at all, and the fuel price is making it so that basically now it's unprofitable considering the power situation. So he's only making a little bit of money from that, and yeah, he scraps it out and gets the aluminum mine down, which makes a lot of sense.
Gameslayer HQ3 ahead of the robot, which is not a place you want to be as a robot. Immediately going to move into glass, steel, aluminum, and a little bit of water. So this is Gameslayer saying, I can power through upgrades faster than you, the robot, can, and then I have more claims.
Yep, absolutely. The glass is a good market. The glass is a much better market than the chems. For example, that Fredward was going into. There is demand on the glass as well from the colony, as well as from his upgrade, of course. So really it's only life support that he needs. He does have that high water tile too, so is in a good position to go into life support HQ4, and of course power as well.
We do have this extra claim going for 16k. Fredward, not exactly sure what to value it as. I'd say it probably should go somewhere in the 20s.
Yeah, I think I probably would bid 24 for this. I think it's just a little bit too cheap to let Gameslayer have it for 20. It puts him a little bit further ahead.
This is an interesting transition. Fredward transitioning into double wind turbines. Those are only very weak.
They're very weak. I mean, there's a dust storm right now, but there's not going to be a dust storm for too much longer. So he is going to be chewing off some of that debt, but I don't think he's going to get through that debt before the dust storm ends. And when the dust storm ends, that's pretty much the end of the useful life of those wind turbines, and they cost a lot of carbon to put up as well.
I mean, carbon was cheap. It was somewhere around 10 or 8, so it wasn't that bad, but I'd rather have that money for the upgrade and be HQ 3 and putting down terrible wind turbines rather than putting down terrible wind turbines at HQ 2.
Yeah, I mean, he does have all of his debt paid off now, so he is making money from these turbines at least for the next 5 seconds while this dust storm persists, so he does probably get his investment back at least.
Gameslayer's HQ 4 to a robot, just getting up to HQ 3. That's pretty bad. That's pretty far behind for Fredward.
Yeah,
you want to be running ahead of the Expansive as a robot, ideally.
Yep, going into the food triangle as well. That's a lot of money to be made in the food market. He's going to be at a water deficit, at least for a little while, but again, is in a position to make a lot of money going for the 2 reactors as well, and does claim the medium water tile as well. The power situation for Gameslayer is an interesting one. We've seen Gameslayer go into a lot of debt before, and I think we're going to see it again in this game. He's going to be in that sea level of debt quite soon, I think, but he is again going to have enough money to get to that HQ 5 upgrade.
Right, he still has that 1 geothermal vent right next to his base that he can claim. He's only burning 1 power per second, which is not bad given all the tiles that he has and given how much power these tiles are consuming.
Yeah, he's got 1 geo up at the moment, so he's going to need that second one at some point, or at least some way to get some power down. He's got mules down on the silicon as well, which does make a lot of sense. He does need that silicon, and maybe even solar panels at some point are an option for him with that excess silicon. One
thing Gameslayer should be doing right now is Fredward has no iron. Should force Fredward to do a transition. Fredward's moving into more wind turbines, so force Fredward to do a transition, buy up as much iron as possible, turn off Fredward's steel mills, make Fredward do something that Fredward doesn't want to do.
No, these wind turbines are pretty sad, I'm not going to lie. They're not very profitable at all. Again, he is making just a little bit of power now, so he's chewing through his debt very, very slowly, but only very slowly, and Gameslayer in a position as Gameslayer puts his spy down on those wind turbines. Gameslayer now in a hacker array as well, so he's going to short glass, which he has a huge stockpile of, and which Fredward is in no position to get into.
So this game might end after this hack is done.
Yeah, I would imagine it probably will. 40 seconds or so he's going to be collecting glass in the meantime, and just getting as much of a stockpile as he possibly can.
Power Surge is going to hurt Gameslayer, but not as much as it's going to hurt Fredward.
Yeah, Gameslayer staying out of that D level of debt for long enough to get that power surge down. He's going to be in D levels of debt right now, though. So that's probably the end of his black market activity, at least for the time being.
But if you have 84k, you need to buy, what is that, 20 times 6?
Price manipulation.
Yeah, 20 times maybe 7 because of the appreciation, but yeah, like 100, somewhere between 130 and 140, I'd say he needs to finish this game.
Once this hack goes off, Gameslayer is going to be very, very close to having enough money to seal the deal. We'll see if he does have enough.
Going through right now, also benefiting, of course, from the colony demand for that glass, but yeah, just that huge amount of money that he's making here. Does have nearly 100,000 worth of glass alone now, and as that ticks up, I think we're going to see Gameslayer getting aggressive very, very soon indeed.
He should buy into himself a little bit just to get that appreciation counteract appreciation,
Yeah,
but
guys.
Fredward says, you know what? I see the light at the end of the tunnel. This game's over.
Yep, he sees the light at the end of the tunnel. Unfortunately, it is a train coming in his direction with Gameslayer's name on it. So Gameslayer takes the round 2 Group C game. He is 2-0 now in this tournament. Fredward falls to 1-1 after beating Zorbaz in round 1. And yeah, Gameslayer, just with that very fast start, Fredward not really able to respond.
And then getting a little bit too creative.
Yeah, those winter
creative
hunts.
is something that you can get away with more in a FFA, simply because people are like, oh, that person's creative, they're going to lag behind, I'm going to ignore you. In a 1v1, they're like, well, let's kick them while they're down.
Well, just to put Fredward's wind turbines into perspective, he had 5 wind turbines up, so what's that? 80 times 5, 400 carbon he needed to put those up. That's a good couple of scavenger HQ upgrades, and he was making 3 power per second from those wind turbines.
Purchased 12k worth of power and sold 28k worth of power, so only made 16k off of those 3 tiles. No, sorry, 5 tiles.
And probably only half of that, if that, was actual money. The rest was debt repayment.
Yeah, I subtracted the 12k debt purchase.
Oh, I guess, yeah, because he's a robot, so that would have been all of the
Plus
debt.
a little bit of interest, so maybe he only made 12k off of it total.
Yeah, yeah. Very comprehensive, though, from Gameslayer. Very well played indeed. And closed it out very well as well in that hacker array.